Welcome back to the Action Jack-Offs podcast. I'm your host, Garrett. This is your other host, Lincoln. Um, this is the show where we talk about our favorite and the best action movies of all time. This week, we're going to be talking about The Running Man, starring Mr. Schwarzenegger,
Our boy.
our boyo, our man. It's funny to think, this is the first thing I think of whenever I think about this movie, is that how funny is it that this movie came out the same year as Predator?
It's just this is ridiculous.
I know we were talking about it a little bit off kilter, but I was actually wondering what were your thoughts on this. I know you had some thoughts, but I was just wondering if you would share those with us.
This was just garbage, let me tell you. I liked parts of it. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I liked parts of it. Parts of it I laughed. Parts of it were enjoyable. But as a movie, goodness gracious, what are we doing here?
It's funny because I don't think about it that same way. I actually had a lot of fun watching it.
I did have a lot of fun, but I also had a lot of questions.
I think, I mean, obviously, like in terms of like what this is as a movie, I think it's just really funny to think about because, I mean, okay, my first question is why is Arnold Schwarzenegger? Why? It's just I have so many whys, and it's like, why is this an adaptation of a Stephen King book?
Well, it was when he was going by a different name.
Richard Bachman or Bauman or something like that.
Something like that is who, because he at a certain point, like most people who get really famous, he just started writing under pseudonyms to see if he still had it. And let me tell you, he didn't.
He did not.
He didn't.
Have you read the original story?
I have not, but I did watch a video on the differences and similarities. It's very, very different, but it also sounds not very good.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was actually one of the things that I was going to include. This was going to be this was going to be one of the rare cases where we talk about the differences between the book and the movie because it's very rare on the show. It happens, but it's very rare.
Not since Die Hard.
Not since Die Hard. I think the only movies we've done so far where there's actually a book adaptation to go off of has been First Blood, Die Hard, and now this movie. Which, in the pantheon of action movies that are adaptations of a book or a short story, The Running Man was not one that I expected to be on there.
Not even a little bit.
No, and when you compare it to the original source material, it is like it has the same skeleton, like the bones are there, but overall, it's really just its own separate thing. It's kind of like with a lot of adaptations, a lot of book adaptations. I mean, it's no different. It's not as different. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that it's the differences between this movie and its source material are no more significant than the differences between the other movies we talked about in their source material.
For sure, it has as much different direction as Die Hard does, for instance.
Yeah, and I also think about how interesting it is that I think what makes this movie particularly stand out against its source material is like just based on what I've read, and I've read bits and pieces, is that it's a very, and also like people's interviews and testimonies and stuff, is that it's a very different tone. It's very tonally different. Whereas
not as many one-liners, some might say.
Yeah, I doubt Stephen King wrote as many one-liners in his book as there were in this movie.
I'm sure he wrote 3 of those that are in the movie.
There were some. I mean, obviously, the one that stands out as being just not at all a product of its source material is whenever Arnold does the "I'll be back."
Oh, I have it. So not most of the time when I write these quotes, let me tell you, I just will write like one dot, then the quote. for the I'll be back in this, I have it quoted, underlined, circled, and pointed to with arrows all around it. How dare he get away with this?
How dare he? It's honestly, I will say, it's probably the most underwhelming "I'll be back" I've ever heard Arnold say. And
Like,
I've seen
wow.
Commando. Okay,
Yeah, he in Commando he at least gives it a run for his money. In this one, he's like, you know what we're here for.
yeah, you know what this is. You know what we're doing. I'll be
He
back.
did the he did the Rolling Stones. Yeah, we're gonna play Paint It Black. Get over it.
Yeah, and what's even funnier is, uh, what's even funnier to me is that they actually references. He actually like goes back to that quote later in the movie where he's like, "I told him I'll be back."
I I told him. Do you understand? I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I said I'll be back.
I
He's
said
gonna
it.
die.
I said it. I have to do it. He has to die. Um, I think probably, and this is such a strange segue, and we're talking about quotes now. My favorite monologue, I guess it's a one-liner, but it's a really long one-liner. It's the one where Killian is talking to Schwarzenegger's character, who I don't even remember what his character's name is. It's like Ben or something. I just know him as Arnold.
Schwarzenegger's character is Ben Richards.
Okay. So yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Uh,
Is talking to Damon Killian.
yeah, and Killian's talking to him through that camera in one of the sections of the area, and he's like saying, "Oh, you know, like you come work for me, you'll be one of my runners, and it'll be really cool." Or not runner, you'll be one of the God,
Stalkers.
the stalkers. Yeah, you'll be one.
Hey
You can
man.
tell how much I've seen. You can tell how much I paid attention when I was watching this movie.
Hey man, I'm gonna weekend at Bernie's this. Let me tell you, it's gonna come together.
Yeah, you got to prop me up here. Um, it was a dark and stormy night when I sat down to watch this, and it was late.
It sounds like you sound like the guys who wrote the movie, like talking to the producers when he's like, "Huh, "So where'd all my money go?"
Yeah,
And it was
exactly.
dark and stormy night. We got stalkers, and
Yeah, no, I definitely had so what was I saying? Oh yeah, and he is telling Arnold, "Oh, you know, if you come work for me, everything will be cool. You'll be one of my stalkers." And Arnold, literally with his superhuman strength, rips this camera off of its hinges and says all this stuff about how he's gonna reach into his throat and uh pull out his goddamn spine and just like smashes the camera. Like that whole sequence I thought was like really well done. I really like that. That's probably my favorite quote in the whole movie is just him doing that. That and also the sequence where he has like his first, I guess his first big one liner, the one where he's like he kills Professor Sub Zero and he's like, "Hey Killian, look, Sub Zero, now just plain Zero."
it's the worst line ever. It's so silly.
I think it works on no level.
No,
It works on no levels.
no, yeah, not even a little bit.
But for me, I was like, I woke up a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Now I'm in.
Now you had
We're doing
me.
bad movies only.
You had me. You had my. You had my curiosity. Now you've got my
Now
attention.
you have my attention.
Yeah, that's where the film hooked me right there. If any of the scenes prior did not hook you, like that crazy prison escape sequence in the beginning of the movie, or the absolutely out of pocket scene where that guy tells Arnold to just shoot a bunch of civilians, then this scene where he says Sub Zero, now Plane Zero, is going to be the one that gets you.
It's egregious.
That's cinema right there.
Do you know what I have written down for my very first note?
What's that?
Terrible opening credits slash opening.
The opening is so weird because
It's so jarring.
it's so, like I said, it's so out of pocket. But then what's even crazier to me that makes me feel like I missed something is that they keep coming back to it. Like it becomes like a major plot point in the movie is this whole opening sequence on the helicopter.
And it's like they filmed it in 10 seconds.
It happens so fast. And
They like his acting was like, I will not kill innocent people.
I will not fire on innocent
Is
civilians.
I will not fire on innocent civilians.
And
It's just insane.
and they shot it so fast. Arnold didn't even realize he wasn't actually supposed to fight back. He just beat the shit out of all those people for no reason.
It's amazing. He doesn't even, like, it seemed like he doesn't even know that the punch is coming and he's already starting to kick their ass.
Yeah, I like to imagine that on set, Arnold was not told that they were supposed to capture him, so he instinctively just started fighting back.
Yeah, he just went, okay, they put me in a little room and I am a big man. I take out the little guys.
Yep. You can just faintly hear off screen, Arnold, please, no, stop.
Arnold, no, please, these are stuntmen, please stop hurting them.
But yeah, no, like the fact that it keeps coming back to that sequence. I mean, like that actually kind of makes up for the fact that it starts so jarring because they keep coming back to it and they keep re-editing it to make it look like, you know, XYZ happened. Like they try to make it like how they try to make it look like he actually did kill those people versus what actually happened.
This is one of those Simpsons type things where they did predict fake news, though.
Yeah, that's actually something I thought was so interesting. So like the whole I forget the name of the conglomerate news media or the media outlet in this movie. It's like ICS or IPS or something like that. And I thought it was so interesting looking at this because the same year this movie came out, it reminds me so much of OCP from RoboCop, which was another like
Very much so.
which was another like multimedia conglomerate super
It
corporation.
is. It is the ICS in this.
The ICS. Okay, so yeah, I got that. So yeah, and it's funny how this. It's interesting to me that with a lot of these '80s movies, they had when they were doing a dystopian like future, they were doing it to where either this super corporation is lording over the citizens, or you've got this massive multimedia conglomerate that is feeding like just constant um, bad news, or just constantly feeding twisted news stories to the public. Or it's interesting because I feel like it's way above this movie's pay grade because we're talking about 1984 Orwellian levels of dystopian here, where they've got like people telling news stories. They'll say one thing, and then 5 minutes later, they'll contradict themselves and say that it was always this other way. And I'm like, that's too smart for some of the things in this movie.
And it's even crazier that it is placed in 2019, and I was like, well, that cannot be more accurate, though.
Exactly, yeah. Like, I mean,
Like that, not necessarily the full dystopia, but the news kind of stuff, lying and then treading back over the same lie, and then going back even further and tripling down. But in the 2000, like the same thing that was kind of happening in 2019, and I was like, well, they hit that on the nail. That's like one of those Simpsons type things. But whilst being in like a bad Demolition Man type movie.
oh man, that's so funny that you say that because I remember you had brought that up off
I texted
screen.
you that. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like all the things I like about Demolition Man, but almost worse.
It will okay, I wouldn't say worse. It
Like it doesn't. Sorry, I don't mean to sound so negative. It doesn't work as well as Demolition Man did because it deals with similar, not necessarily the same themes, but similar themes.
exactly. What up,
It
Marv?
works. More.
Sorry so obviously you know that this is obviously like a week late or something. Our schedules has just been crazy. Our schedule has just been so crazy. But we're finally getting to it. We're finally getting to it. Anyway, yeah, the comparisons to Demolition Man are pretty crazy because obviously not just about like a dystopian future, but about a future where information is kind of fed to you Obviously, like the biggest difference between this and Demolition Man is that in Demolition Man, the society is anti-violence, where and in The Running Man, uh, it's pretty much just like pro-violence. You know, like that's
Yeah, it's a complete 180 of
it's
that
a complete
system.
180. It's an inversion of that
Mhm.
society, and it's spread across the board. Like I like the detail that there are other TV shows going on that are just
I did write that down too.
yeah, just as
Climbing for dollars.
that was the one that got me with the
I would
Dobermans.
watch that.
I'd watch
Yeah, I was
that.
like,
I was like, oh
I was
shit.
like, I'm so in.
Yeah,
I
if
was
that
like,
was an
we
actual
need,
TV show, I'd watch that.
yeah, like we have Wipeout, we have all these other shows, but like just put them in a padded suit. There doesn't have to be blood or gore or anything. Just put them in a padded suit, put a bunch of German shepherds that are trained retired police dogs, and just let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I think that I think that is probably that's probably like honestly like low key the best takeaway I can get from this movie is
That's what I'm saying.
is that that happens.
Climbing for dollars has
Call
to happen. I'm an investor.
that would be so fun. And in all fairness too, the Running Man as a concept for a TV show is actually pretty cool too. I mean, not I'm not
Well,
advocating for
it's
death on
American
screen.
Gladiators.
It's what inspired American Gladiators, honestly.
Hmm.
Yeah, they said that in their documentary, I think, because American Gladiators started like the very next year, or like within a few
The cra-
months.
the craziest part about American Gladiators is they did that shit on concrete for the first few seasons.
Yeah, that's wild. American Gladiators was no fucking joke.
No.
No, but obviously, I'm not advocating for wanting to see murder on TV. I'm just saying the concept of a guy running from people that are trying to hunt him down is a really cool concept for a TV show.
And we've seen it in many of movie.
You do, and it kind of reminds me a lot of that movie, or that storyline. What's it called? The one about the guy that invites people to his island. Oh, A Most Dangerous Game,
Oh yes.
where a guy brings a person to his island who's pretty smart, and then lets them run loose on his private island, and then he hunts them like they're animals.
Yeah, it's very similar to the episode of the Hulk that I really like also.
The Hulk?
The Incredible Hulk TV show.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, you want to talk
With
about a great show?
I knew he was gonna get him.
Don't get me started. That is a good show. No, I know what you mean though. I know what you mean though. About a guy constantly on the run from, Jack McGee, investigative reporter.
Yes, but like very specifically, I remember the very first episode of the Hulk. I remember is that he befriends this dude and they're playing chess, and then he takes him to his island and he drugs him, and then all of a sudden he's hunting him with the crossbow.
That's probably like the first episode of one of the seasons, not the whole show.
No, no, yeah, yeah. It's like one episode is what I was saying. There's a specific episode
Yeah.
where I think it's based on that book that you're speaking of, and then there's also the surviving game with Ice-T. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but we need to put that one on the list actually.
Holy shit. Well, I hope you remember it because I'm not putting it in the list right now. I'm letting that
Oh,
one.
I'm writing it. I'll write it down.
I'm letting that one marinate for a second.
Surviving game,
That's hilarious. You're actually writing it
or
down.
maybe it's surviving the game.
Surviving the game. Surviving got game with Ice T.
Survivor got game.
Survivor.io. No, but seriously, what the fuck?
That's so funny. I'm writing that down too.
What the fuck were we even talking about with the running?
Dude, I have no idea.
Dude,
You want to get into quotes? You want to get into quotes?
hit me with all your
I got
favorite.
lots.
I know you got all the quotes. Hit me with all the quotes.
And I'll see you in hell. He says to Sub-Zero.
What did you
And that,
what did you think about like that sequence of Sub-Zero and like the ice hockey? Not to like catch you off guard, but like that just like what is with that?
it was surprisingly out of nowhere, but do you know what it made me think of?
What did you make you think of?
The scene in Batman and Robin where they're ice skating with Mr. Freeze.
which also coincidentally has Arnold Schwarzenegger. I get it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wait a minute, I think I've seen this before.
It all makes sense. It all connects. It's all a circle.
Time is a flat circle. I also have right after they get their collars off and escape the jail. Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, "All right, I'll see you at the 10-year jail reunion."
Yeah, like a fucking like a smarmy guy.
Yeah. It's so good. The quotes were the one-liners in this were off the charts. Let me tell you, I have like a whole page.
They were hitting. They were hitting.
That was the one. It was almost like I was just watching like different one-liner TikToks for like an hour and a half.
Like a movie it was stitched together with one-liner TikToks.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's pretty hilarious. And honestly though, and I will say this, my favorite thing about the movie is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah, it's him and then Captain Freedom or whatever, Jesse Ventura's character, who's like in it for 10 minutes.
Yeah. And what I love the most about Arnold, and we're already on the topic of these quotes, is that he's just such a charismatic guy.
Except for the first 10 minutes.
Well, the first 10 minutes, like I said, I think that sequence is the whole helicopter sequence is meant to be off-putting because it just becomes something. It's almost like an out-of-body experience, and then when you experience the re-edited versions in the later scenes in the movie, it kind of like makes more sense why it feels so separated, because you're supposed to be looking at it from a TV screen.
I see.
But Arnold just does such a good job making. I don't think anybody else could have been in the movie. I don't think anybody else in the movie could have done what Arnold did. Like no other actor could do done what Arnold did the way he did it, because I think he's the only one that could deliver these lines the way he can.
Yeah, because I was thinking for like the first half of the movie, I was like, oh, this is an obvious thing where Stallone could have been this guy too. But then towards the end, I was like, no, I don't think. Other than like the Rocky movies, most of the time, like Stallone isn't gonna like win over the like characters that well in the movie.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Like he's not as other than like Rocky, he never really plays that much of like a crowd pleasing character as much.
Well, he's always Arnold, you know.
Mm-hmm. He's always just sweating swag.
Well, let me ask you this: who, as another aside, I don't mean to keep cutting you off before you get to the rest of the quotes.
I didn't know we were in a William Shakespeare play with all these fucking asides. Let me tell you,
these fucking soliloquies. I was gonna ask you who is your favorite villain of all the bad guys in the movie, the stalkers, Killian. Who is the one that did it for you the most?
I think it was Dynamo, just because he was so strange, and I kept having to like look up. I was like, this isn't the guy who was in Demolition Man and Beetlejuice, right? Like this is a different guy.
No, yeah, he's a different guy. He's
Mhm.
the guy that plays Dynamo is Erlen Van Leeth. He was actually a classically trained he was a classically trained opera singer. And that's why, like, in the movie, when he does, like, his random, like, bout of opera, that's, like, him actually doing it.
That's, so, they, so they did just pick him for that reason, and because he could look strikingly strange?
Well, I think also that... hold on. I think also they picked him because I think he was also a wrestler? He was an amateur wrestler, yeah. So,
love it.
Because I mean, they picked.
Now I'm in. I'm even more in on Dynamo now.
Now the tragic thing about this, the tragedy of it.
Oh no!
I know. I don't mean to like.
There's a tragedy in Summer. Oh no!
I didn't want to cut the legs out from under this really touching moment, but
no.
The actor Erlen Von Leeth actually passed away before the film was released. Tragically.
How dare you just rain on my parade after I was so in on Dynamo?
I know. I feel bad about it.
It's all right. I really did think that it was like stitched in, that was just like famous songs, or that they had some other person doing it for them.
No, that was all
That's really
him.
cool.
No, that was all
That's
him.
so cool.
Yeah, but no, that's a good one. That's a good one. Mine is probably like if I was gonna pick stalkers, the guy that plays Buzzsaw was pretty funny, and
I do
just
like Buzzsaw.
and just how
That
like
Buzzsaw a lot.
and just how like he's really intense with his chainsaws and stuff, and Arnold, redirects that chainsaw right into his nutsack. That was pretty great. That's probably me more appreciative of what Arnold did to him in that scene than I am the character, but he reminds me of Randy Savage's character Bonesaw from the first Spider-Man movie.
I did. I also thought about that. I also was like, when they said Buzzsaw, Buzzsaw, I was in my head just going, Buzzsaw is ready.
Oh, that was a good one. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of playtime. I'm fucking.
Oh, that's so good.
I'm fucking crying.
That's fucking Buzzsaw is ready.
Oh man. No, dude, that's too good. That was too good. Honestly, dude, this movie would be a 10 out of 10 if Bonesaw was one of the goddamn stalkers.
I don't know why this made me think of it, but I have to bring it up. Do you know that Randy Savage has a mixtape?
What? What is it called? Is it called Oh
I
yeah?
forget what. No, it's not even a bit. He actually does. But what is the most comical is the very first rap song that he has on this mixtape
Oh
is
my
"I'm
god.
Back."
It's a rap album. It's a rap
Oh
tape.
yeah, it's a rap mixtape. But the very first song is "I'm Back," which implies that he ever was there in the rap game.
You know what? He's the GOAT. I'm just gonna say it.
He's the goat.
He's the GOAT.
Sorry, that was my aside.
You're fine. You're fine. Well, okay. If I were gonna pick somebody other than Buzzsaw, I'd also pick Jesse Ventura's character in the movie.
Oh yeah,
Oh God,
Mr. Freedom,
Mr.
Captain
Captain
Freedom.
Freedom. Yeah, he's actually
Oh, it's
not
so
like
good.
he's actually not even like that big of a character in the movie.
Not very much. He's kind of like the glorified like poster boy for the whole thing. But what I think is even funnier is he's doing like those like Mr. Freedom workout videos, and they just look like dance aerobic classes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you gotta
They
stay
don't
in
look very
shape.
brutal at all.
It was the '80s. They didn't know what was gonna stay popular in the future, which is
That's
funny
so funny.
because I always think about the fashion in these like 80s movies that take place in the future have like the funniest fashion because
Oh yeah, all the
it's
time.
it's basically just it's basically just 80s clothing but made to look futuristic, as if the fashion in the 80s was going to be everlasting.
There's gonna be something huge.
Anyway, give me another quote.
Next quote. Next quote. Arnold picks up the one dude and goes, "Give you a lift?
Do you need a lift?
Give you a lift?"
Yeah, and he fucking picks him up.
Uh-huh. Uh, and then Arnold is super threatening, and he goes, "Cause I'm going to say please."
Yeah, yeah. What did he say anything to that guy when they were doing the prison escape sequence? Did he say anything to that one guy, or did he say anything about that one guy who ran and got his head blown up?
I don't think so.
Because I feel like that's definitely a he lost his head type moment.
Yeah, they might have. I might have missed it, but I feel like I would have wrote it down if they did.
I gotcha.
Here's one that isn't funny, but it just sounded pretty like it wasn't actually just good one-liner, and that was the truth hasn't been very popular lately.
That's yeah. I mean that's insightful.
that's just like a good movie quote.
That's a good line in
But
general, for
yeah,
sure.
it's just like a good movie quote that's trapped in this movie.
I got you. I
And
got
then
you.
I also have written down "I'll be back," which is funny.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh, uh
we already talked about that.
yeah, yeah, it was just on the very bottom of the list.
I got you. With the
And then he
circles.
also, yeah, with all of the circles and stuff. And then I also had it won't show on this shirt.
Yeah, yeah. When she is like, I'm gonna throw up or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna puke on your Hawaiian shirt. It won't show up.
To add to that thought, I really liked the part where, right after that quote that I said I really liked, where he like rips the camera off its hinges, and they're walking away, and I forget her name, Maria, played by Amber Mendez, Arnold and Amber. Oh no, it's she plays Amber Mendez. She's played by Maria Conchita Alonso. Excuse me, I got that backwards.
Hey, it's all right.
So Amber and Arnold are walking, and she's like, "We should have taken the trip to Hawaii off her." And he was like, "I tried to," or he was like, "I had the shirt for it, but you ruined that." So I thought that was a nice. I like that that kind of came back later in the movie. There's a lot of good callbacks in the movie. At least two good ones I can think of.
It's
Oh
pretty great. And then,
my
yeah,
god.
what you got?
Holy shit, dude. I can't believe I almost forgot about this. This had me fucking rolling when I saw this live. It is the one where it's him, the two guys he escaped prison with, and Amber, and they're all running around the zone. And one of the guys, like the nerd guy, is like, "We got to find a way to put up, like, get the codes, put it up in the satellite, and like mess up their satellite or whatever." And then the other guy's like, "Yeah, we gotta get work together and jam the network." And Arnold looks at him and goes, "Jam the network? Jam it up your ass. Let's get out of here."
I didn't write that one down, but I do remember that was really good.
That's easily my top quote. That had me fucking dead. Holy shit. Just the the way it's like he's like saying it, and then he like pulls a 180, he's like, "Jam it up your ass. Let's get out of here." Cuz I love that Arnold, his character does not give a flying fuck throughout the whole movie about any of the stuff going on with the rebels, with the ICS television conglomerate. He doesn't care about any of that. All he wants is to get out of there, find Killian, and kill him. That's it. He doesn't care about clearing his name. He doesn't care about helping the rebels. He doesn't care about any of that. He just wants to fuck this guy up.
When he's ready, he will be back.
He will be back. Oh my god, dude, that was so funny. So funny.
And then I have two last things.
Go ahead.
Then I had the exchange of where right after he says I'll be back, he says only in a rerun.
Only in a rerun. Yeah, that was pretty good. Honestly, like as a comeback to Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's really hard to like one up him. But
But he
considering
did.
he did it. Like considering that we've already talked about how like that was probably like that was not like the best "I'll be back" quote from Arnold. Obviously, nothing's gonna top the Terminator. Nothing's gonna. It didn't even come close to Commando levels. And so for Killian to come back with a "only in a rerun" line, I was like, damn, maybe he like intentionally didn't deliver the "I'll be back" very well, just so that we could have Killian's badass line, because that was badass.
It's pretty amazing. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And then my final thing is not necessarily my favorite quote, but I just really thought it was funny that the door code was 445566.
Yeah, true.
I just thought that was like, wow, just two of each number?
Can we just talk for
Like, it's just 456?
is it natural and not a very good segue at all? Is it natural for Arnold's character to just be superhumanly strong in this movie?
No,
Is it
but they
distracting?
just
Is it just
it's strange. It's a strange point that they focused on in various points.
it's just so
And is
I
that
thought it was
just
I thought
is
it
that
was
just
funny.
It is funny, but is that just because they have Arnold and that's the joke?
I feel like Arnold said, if you don't let me break
Some of your
furniture,
stuff.
if you don't let me just and the funny thing is it's actually not, those are not props. Arnold literally just ripped things. He lifted that bench presser off the ground.
Arnold, stop. We only had one take, and we weren't filming. I don't care.
No, yeah, I acknowledge he's a super badass fighter, but like the whole, I just thought it was funny that he's got, you know, the strength of 10 men. He's got Herculean strength in the
Like
movie.
none of the other cops in the helicopter had human superhuman strength.
But none of them were Arnold, you know?
Yeah, but like, why is why why?
That just goes back to the whys, the many whys. I'll tell you
Uh-huh.
what. I'll tell you what. Um, I thought was really interesting about the movie was, oh god, I had it. I just had it. Oh my god, I got distracted. What was it? Oh my god, I'm drowning. Help me.
Hey, it's all right, buddy. Let's talk about the set design real fast. The set design I thought looked exactly like Doom, the video game, and how interesting it was. I'm just filling up the open space. The green screen at the very beginning was
Oh,
also terrible. I
oh,
wrote a note about that.
oh! I had my thought back. Thank you.
Here we go. You're so welcome.
Thank you for throwing me that life preserver.
You're so welcome. I got you.
I have to say the final fight with Jesse is with Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It is the single greatest final fight that never happened.
Yeah, the fake one.
The fake one. Also,
Yeah, I had that written down as my favorite like action sequence, even though it's not really an action sequence. I was like, oh my god, Jesse Ventura and Arnold are going at it. Oh, it's fake, but it's still fucking awesome.
I think this is the third movie with, is it's either the third or the second. No, no, it's the third with Jesse Ventura and Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie. It was, the first one was Predator, and then it's this one, and then I think Jesse Ventura is in Batman and Robin.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Is he the one who's playing Bane?
No, that's another guy. That's some like wrestler who died of steroid overdose.
Hey, it's probably true.
Yeah, he had like a massive heart attack and died. That's a totally like, that's a story for another day, but that's just
Man, our sides are crazy today.
our man. It's because I was just so woefully underprepared for this
Hey,
episode.
we're having a great time.
I'm having a great time
Me too.
because it actually feels like we're like having a conversation about the movie. The format, to randomly not talk about the movie for a second because I'm just a bad host, is that the format that we've been working on, I've actually been thinking about like changing it up a little bit. Like I want to be able to do more stuff like this where we just talk about a movie, um, and like make it to where the categories are great and I love doing the categories as like a thing that we do, but I think I want to drop the whole like talking about like the production and stuff like that because I just don't know how, it just doesn't come off very organic whenever I just start rattling off trivia facts, you know? Uh,
Hey, I'm here for whatever. Hey, if there's trivia, we'll throw it in interspersely from now on. Little cool things here and there.
Marv, are you suggesting we make the categories longer or just make, what are we making longer here? The podcast or what? Because the podcast length is not the problem that we have. I think it's more just like we talk about them. We have the ability to talk about the movie, but then like it's like we can talk about a movie for like an hour. I mean, we're on 40 minutes right now. We've just been talking about The Running Man. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll workshop it. I mean, we could just make more categories and then just list our categories at the end of our like conversation. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I've been thinking about it and I've been thinking to myself, like, is this something I want to keep doing? Because I was like going into this podcast and I was like, dude, I don't have anything. I didn't do nearly as much research. Like I read stuff, I read a bunch of stuff. I was into doing this stuff. I just didn't write anything down. I just didn't take any notes. Even when I was watching the movie, I didn't take any notes because it's one of those things where sometimes if I'm like really into a movie, and I was into this movie, I was really into this movie. This movie sucked me in, and I was along for the ride. And it's like one of those things
This
where
movie just sucked.
shut up. You fuck. No, this is I had fun with this and that's why it like sucked me into it and I was able to like really get into it and I just didn't even think about grabbing my notepad. Usually I have my notepad like right next to me when I'm watching a movie. And it's like if it's a movie that I really like or it's a movie that I'm really interested in, maybe it's even a movie I haven't seen before or I've not seen enough. Like with Fast and the Furious, I was like, oh, I've not seen this movie in like ages, so I'm just gonna like not have my notes on me and I'm just gonna watch the movie. I also watched that movie over like 5 days, so that probably isn't a good example. But I did the same thing with Speed. I just sat there and watched Speed in one sitting. That movie was great. And it's the same thing with Running Man. To bring it back home to Running Man, that's just like I don't know. I'm kind of rambling at this point. I understand that.
Hey man, land the plane.
Let me ask you this. So, in bringing it back to Running Man, in the pantheon of Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, even if we were just talking about like his 80s movies, where does this kind of fall for you?
It'd have to be pretty low.
Really?
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be at the very bottom, but it'd probably be more towards the bottom.
Let me see
Not to
here.
be in any way.
If I were to include
Listen, hit me with them.
if I were to include okay, so I'm gonna rattle off all the ones that I've seen that I remember, and I'm only gonna include the ones from the 80s and the 90s because that's like his golden era.
Uh-huh.
So we've got Terminator,
Top of the list.
top of the list, obviously. We've got Conan, two Conan movies.
Those are probably dead last.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care about Conan at all.
Wow, that's like a classic. Like that's a classic Arnold movie. Is the Conan?
Hey, I own both of them on VHS. I do not care about them though.
Yeah, they're just collecting dust.
They're just collecting dust. I have quite a few that are collecting dust that I respect. I just don't care about.
Um. Okay, so that True Lies, Commando, Predator, and Terminator 2, Total Recall. Dude, we gotta do Total Recall at some point.
Oh, I love Total Recall.
Yeah.
That's a movie.
Yeah. Okay. Let me let me change let me change the question because
Okay.
obviously it's unfair to I mean, I think The Running Man is top 10, but that's because I haven't seen every movie. I think it's top 10. I can't for sure place it where on the top
Hey,
10.
just to be a dick, 11.
You can't even name 11. No, Batman and Robin is 11. If we're gonna
No,
put
I'd rather watch Batman and
Oh,
Robin.
you're fucked in the head. You are fucked in the head. You got
I'll name 10 other Arnold Schwarzenegger movies just off the top of my head.
All right,
Okay.
fire it off.
Okay. In no order. We got Terminator 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
We got Predator. We got Over the Top.
No, that was Sylvester
Oh
Stallone.
no, that's Sylvester Stallone.
Okay, you get deducted
We
a
got-
point.
I didn't get to that to the point. I'll
I'm
take
taking
it.
off
Total Recall.
I'm taking off Terminator 3. You can't include
Fuck
it.
you. Fine. Fine. Total Recall. Fine. T1, T2, Predator, Total Recall. That's where we're at right now. That's
You got
4.
4. I got it. I'm counting. You fuck. You have no choice but to include The Running Man.
Alright, fine. It's number 10. I'll give it to you.
All right.
I was really confident, but now I'm laughing too hard to think.
Let me switch gears. Let me switch gears here. Okay, so you've got what version of Arnold do you think would win in a fight, including The Running Man? Because the
Oh,
running.
this is a great question.
This is a great question. Thank credit to Marv. This is a really good question.
Marv, you're a guy. What a fucking dude over here.
When we are just down in the dumps, we have Marv
Marv is our savior.
to bring us back from the depths.
Marv, I'm sorry I didn't like this one as much. I love you, buddy.
Marv, I enjoyed this one. So anyway, so which version of Arnold would win in a fight, including the Running Man?
Out of everybody?
Out of everybody.
You would think he would be the Terminator, but maybe it's the character that he plays in Predator because because he did kill the Predator, he like outsmarted it. I'm not sure.
You know, I might. Okay, so I'm actually gonna have to eliminate. Okay, my top three.
They have to be the human ones.
No, no, it does not have to
Oh,
be.
okay.
I think Terminator. I think the Terminator kind of wins by default, but I'm gonna make a case for the other guys. I'm gonna make a case for the other.
Here we go.
So
Now this is the kind of content I'm looking for.
So you've got So you've got three elite special ops people right off the top of my head. You've got him in Commando. You've got him in the Running Man, and you've got him in Predator, right? So those three right there, they make a pretty good team. Let's imagine for an instance this is a battle royale, right?
Oh, here we go. A trial of 7.
Okay, and you've got because that's what it has to be, right? It's a battle royale. You got all the Arnolds fighting each other. You've got these three that are like special ops people, and they are just equipped for hardcore, right in your face combat. And let's imagine they get to have their weapons, right? They get to have their weapons, so they're all geared up. The Terminator's geared up, Predator guy's geared up, Commando Arnold's geared up, and what was the other one I said? Running Man. Running Man is geared up.
We're talking about.
The movie we're talking about, and they're all geared up. I think those three as a team have a good chance of beating one Terminator Arnold. And then they would have to then turn around and then fight each other. And I feel like that might be where Predator wins out. However,
No, I don't know if I just took too many mushrooms or if this is still happening, but this is amazing.
Thank you. Now, okay, but then we have to take into consideration the other Arnolds, right? Because keep in mind, oh my God, you know what I just realized? There's two Terminator Arnolds.
Oh no, because there's the T-800 and the T-1000.
Oh my God, there's multiple Terminator Arnolds because there's so many that aren't the same Terminator. So there's multiple Terminators. No. So now the question is, what Terminators beat other Terminators? Does the Terminator?
Marv, are you pleased with yourself? Are you pleased with yourself, Marv? Look what you did to him.
It's a cascading effect. No, but like
snowballed into nonsense.
But we've got all these Terminators over here. We've got all these special forces guys. Then we've got the other human characters of Arnold that are like, you've got like the super spy Arnolds as like a team that I'll call them. You've got like Total Recall Arnold, who's got like sci-fi shit going on. And then he's got like all the different spy stuff, which is different from like the special ops guys, right? That's more like combat focused. And you've got the spy guys that are more like espionage focused. So you've got Total Recall Arnold, and then you've got True Lies Arnold, who probably loses to Total Recall Arnold.
I love it.
Exactly.
I need you to draw me a picture, edit me one of the videos how you used to edit the videos, and let's get to the bottom of this.
Oh, you know what we need to do? Marv just said this in chat. 1v1 Mortal Kombat style. What we need to do is we need to set up
tournament style bracket. That's
we need to set up a tournament style bracket. We'll make this like
supplemental content,
and then we'll make like a separate video about it. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. We'll
Okay.
make a
Hey, write it down.
I'll make a separate we'll make a separate video going through a tournament bracket, going through one by one each version of Arnold Schwarzenegger in each one of his movies that we've seen. We're not going to talk about movies we haven't seen. We're just going to talk about ones we've seen. And then make a video where we just are like one by one. We go through. It's like a tournament of power, basically.
Oh,
And it's
I
like,
love it.
and the gods came together. They grabbed every Arnold across the multiverse, and then they dropped them here. So we're gonna make that video, and then we're gonna we're gonna but in this hypothetical free fall, in this hypothetical, I'll post it on YouTube. I'll post it on my YouTube. But this, stay with me, reel it in, stay with me. In this hypothetical,
It's still going.
in this hypothetical scenario, we still have one more Arnold character that we have to take into consideration here. Do you know who it is?
Who's that?
It's Mr. Freeze.
I know. It's the outlier.
He's got the ice
He
powers.
might win it.
He might actually
He might
win
win
it.
it.
He might actually do it. He's got ice powers. He has the technology. He could theoretically, Mr. Freeze could theoretically beat every single human character of Arnold Schwarzenegger. And that is because he is the Mr. Freeze. He is the Iceman. He could beat. And now, don't quote me on this. I think
Oh my goodness.
I think Mr. Freeze could beat a Terminator. I'm just gonna say it right now.
Oh my god. We're gonna have to. Well, it depends which one.
Okay, which one are we talking about?
Well, we're gonna have to add all of them.
Well, if we're talking about all of them, then yeah, it's gonna be a problem. But Mr. Freeze has got
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Freeze has bulletproof armor. Okay, anything
I
short
mean,
of
we're talking twins, Danny DeVito, Arnold. Does twins Arnold Schwarzenegger come with Danny DeVito? Because that's going to be a problem.
he swings Danny DeVito around like a fucking blackjack.
He might win. That guy might win.
No, I'm serious. Oh, you know who would really kick ass?
I mean, does Conan have the mystical sword and all its powers?
He has a sword. I don't know if it has mystical powers. It's been a while since I've seen Conan.
It's been a while for me too. I thought that he had some kind of magic in that movie.
Well, he's not like fucking He-Man, you know. He doesn't summon the power of Grayskull and kick people's asses. It's just a fucking sword.
Maybe I'm just mixing those together.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, he looks pretty powerful in Jingle All the Way. Let me tell you.
Okay, it's either. So then we were talking about like the goofy Arnolds. We're talking about twins, Jingle All the Way, Junior, where he's like pregnant,
Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop.
I mean, these are all versions of Arnold that if we were in a multiverse, they would be there.
They
And
would
we should
be
give
there.
them their fair shake.
I'll give them the fair shake, but I will say this right now: Mr. Freeze is going to kill them. Mr. Freeze has them dead in his sights. Gone, finito, over with, done. But can he take on multiple Terminators? I don't know. I don't know. That's going to be a discussion for the in a free for all. In a free for all, that's hard to say, because we're talking about whether or not everybody's geared up, like I said, and Mr. Freeze has more than just one. We've seen him freeze a whole room of people. It can be done. It can be done.
I love it. Where do you rank this on our tier list?
Oh, okay, yeah, we're at that point.
I mean, we haven't talked about it in a minute.
It's been like 15 minutes. This one sent me. This question sent me, bro.
Hey, dude, Marv, you did some magic.
I'll say this: I will give a fair shake to the best chatter in the world, and I'll ask this, Marv. Do you have any more questions before we get to the tier list? Because I think you missed the tier list last time. Because last time we did an action movies tier list celebrating our 10th episode of the podcast, where we went through all the movies that we had done so far and put them in a tier list. And we're about to put Running Man in a tier list. I don't have it pulled up. on the screen anymore. I just have it on my Excel sheet. But let me see if I can make a new window, pull it up. Let's see here. Let's see here.
You don't know how to do anything.
I don't know how to do it on the fly, but I'll do my best.
Hey, that's what I appreciate about you, son.
No, I'm not gonna do this right now. It's a bad idea. That's just gonna
Bad idea.
that's just gonna be a whole lot of stuff happening. Actually, I can do it real fast if I just do this. If I do a window. Okay, last question. What would you do in the movie yourself if you were in Arnold's place?
As the Running Man,
Yes.
uh, it probably end up how the one nerdy guy with glasses goes, where I'm trying to get into a computer or something, just get zapped.
Where you just die immediately?
Yeah, or like how it shows some of the earlier runners and stalkers and stuff just getting clapped up. I feel like I would make it. I probably wouldn't make it past the ice skating guy. You know, I don't even know how to skate.
Yeah. Okay, so with me it would be
Yeah, I was about to say, what is your answer, buddy?
with me
We going for double-legged takedowns? What are we talking?
with me I would do my best to make it as far as I could, and then I would die. I would probably die to Buzzsaw, probably. I think I could beat Sub-Zero. I don't think I could beat Buzzsaw. Tell you the truth. Okay.
I think I would. I think I would get lost.
Okay, so yeah, I would get lost in the zone too. Okay, so this is this tier list. And so obviously you can see here these are all the movies we've covered so far in their respective orders. I had this like on a much better like actual tier list layout, but I don't know. I wanted to go ahead and just put Running Man in here at the end of the video, and then whenever we do our like 20th video special, then I'll go back and I'll do it and we'll like reevaluate our thoughts then. But I just wanted to go ahead as we're making the video, as we're doing this, I thought this would be a good idea. So where do you rank?
I love it.
Where do you rank the Running Man on the tier list? We had S tier was Raiders of the Lost Ark, Terminator, Die Hard. A tier was Predator, Speed, First Blood, and then B tier was Beverly Hills Cop and Demolition Man, and then C tier was Fast and the Furious and Mad Max 2.
I think we got our first D. I'm just kidding. It's a C tier.
Okay, do you? I say. I don't know. I had a lot more fun watching this than I did Mad Max 2 and Fast and Furious. I think I gotta go bottom B tier, right behind Demolition Man.
It's kind of where it belongs. I was gonna try to argue it down as low as I can, but that I will sustain.
I feel like it's such a good popcorn movie that you can't just discredit.
The one-liners are pretty. The one-liners are pretty hard.
Because to me, I think
It's
about
not
it
that I was trying to discredit it. I just thought
compared to
like I was trying to compare it. I was like, it's kind of not as good as some of these movies.
yeah, but but there's such
it's pretty high.
I was about to say there's such a broad spectrum too.
It is true. And I did laugh quite a few times, so let's put it right behind Demolition Man. That's pretty much, it's Demolition Man light. That's where it belongs.
That's my favorite thing that you have ever called it is Demolition Man Light. That's so funny. Okay, we're done with that. Expand. Okay, so that's the tier list updated as of now. Marv, I fought for B tier. Just remember that. Just remember I did that.
Marv, Marv, we're still friends. Don't think I don't like you.
Okay, so do you have any closing statements?
I really did enjoy this movie. I know I sound like I've been hating on it, but I really did want it to be a little bit of cat and mouse game, a little bit of banter, a little bit of fun, to be the contrarian. I did have lots and lots of quotes. I did think that the story was kind of lacking, and I did have some definite plot holes, but this is a popcorn movie. There's no need for nitpicking as much, and I did really enjoy it. I did want to have a little bit more about the other TV shows. Is my one critique. I wanted more. I wanted more of the other
That
TV
hey,
shows.
that's a good thing when you look at a movie and it says you say I want more. Okay, so with me, I just wanted to say I think it's a really good popcorn movie. I would not say it's one of the best Arnold movies, but I would definitely say this is top 10 for sure. Okay, so this week, Marv and anyone else watching, we are actually not doing the wheel this week, because um, in honor of the new Alien Romulus movie that is dropping tomorrow, we are actually going to be doing next week's video. Next week's episode is going to be about Aliens, starring Sigourney Weaver, the sequel to the critically acclaimed Alien movie, starring Kyle Reese himself and Bill Paxton. It's going to be there. It's going to be fun.
Michael Bean.
Yep. So no picker wheel this time, but we are going to be doing one next week. If you want, yeah, I'd probably say just wait until next week when we do that one. It's kind of one of those things where it's like if there's a movie or something going on where it's like, oh, this is it's more for views than it is for anything else. Where we're just like, oh, let's do Aliens because Alien Romulus is coming out. It's the same thing. It's the same thing we did whenever the Beverly Hills Cop Axel F movie came out, and we were like, oh, let's this is when we have to do Beverly Hills Cop. So it's pretty much that's the reason. So, but next week we're gonna do it for sure because we don't have because there's nothing coming up next week or the week after that. I don't think.
Not until I think The Crow comes out soonish. The new one.
Oh, and then we're gonna do the Crow.
Yeah, I like The Crow.
Okay, hey, we'll workshop it, but that's a pretty good
We'll
idea.
workshop it. We
But
might do that one. If
but
not,
but
if
the
not, we'll do the wheel again.
but the next one for sure we're gonna do the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. That's gonna be it from us. Hopefully, I know this is a shorter episode, but this was just yeah, this one was crazy. So
It was. It was. We had a lot of stuff going on. Sorry, but
yeah.
we did our best, and I had lots of fun. So I hope you guys did too.
Okay. Yep. That'll be it, you guys, and we will see you guys later.
Peace.
Peace.